Many think immigrants commit more crime. Research showed that isn't right. This talk explained how the media and politics create that story, and why it still resonates. We need less fear, more fact. Robert Sampson spent 30 years studying neighborhood in Chicago. He learned that cities with higher levels of immigration had lower levels of violent crime. Counter to the narrative we often hear in the news and popular culture, immigrants make neighborhoods safer, no more dangerous. We've all seen the community screaming immigrants crime wave. It's loud, dramatic, but misleading. The news uses fear to get attention, and after hearing it repeatedly, we can come to believe it, whether or not it is true. When undocumented immigrants commit a crime, it makes news headline for days. It makes people think it happens all the time, but it doesn't. Seeing it often does not mean it's common. It's only feel that way. Politicians exploit fear to gain a following. They emphasize unusual crime and advocate for strict sentencing. Trump took advantage of this in 2015. Such claims are compelling message but do not respect the actual data. Through research, Sampson looked at poverty and other things. However, he was able to show that neighborhoods with more immigrants had lower crime rates. They have shown this for decades. This material is still myth. Less crime, more ties. Sampson showed that immigrant communities have strong social ties with one another, including families, churches, and business to protect one another. This less violence, not more. Collective guardianship. They tended to act like a group of neighborhood watch members. They cared and they were vigilant. Sampson named this advocacy called collective efficacy, in which members did what they could to protect each other, even without more policing. This time in Texas proved this result. From 2012 to 2018, researchers compared the crime rates of undocumented people, legal immigrants, and native-born Americans. They had no trouble concluding that, as a group, immigrants commit less crime. The Texas data showed immigrants had the lowest violent crime rate. Legal immigrants were second. Native-born Americans is highest. The myth is totally wrong. Same conclusion, the Texas study with the same result year after year. This matters. Coincidentally, two different studies in two different places came to the same conclusion. Immigration doesn't lead to more crime. So why do people still buy into the myth? One big reason is fear of job or job security loss. Immigrants become easy scapegoats. Media and politicians exploit that fear. Instead of tackling the actual issue, like low wages or bad health care, politicians blame immigrants. It's easier to blame others than to fix things, but that blame is misdirected. The media focuses on criminal acts committed by immigrants and often overlooking crimes committed by Americans. So people think it's more prevalent than it is. It doesn't matter whether it's true, but it's about what's presented. Social media makes this even worse. If you watch one sensational, scary video, then those platforms will feed you more and more, and you get stuck in an echo chamber where fear amplifies, real or not. This test leads to damaging actions. ICE rates spread fear among all immigrants populations. Even legal residents are unsure of their safety and stay at home. Families quit schooling and people quit reporting crimes altogether. That's not safety, it's fear-based control. In 2018, Thousands of children were taken from their parents at the border. Experts believe many are now traumatized, possibly for life. These inhuman policies were based on fear instead of fact and compassion. Fearful policies only create worse outcome. When people are afraid of police, even as victims, they don't report crimes. They fear calling the police. Then real crime happens and no one is safe. Things we should be doing so. Let's stop promoting fear. What we need is honest news, not drama. Then we need transparent public laws. Law enforcement that work with communities, not against communities. That's how we create a real safety. The equation of immigrants equal to crimes is a myth. Research shows the truth. Let's stop our fearful reaction and begin to respond to evidence. We need to shift our narrative and fight for justice.